Hey, what is going on guys? RVZ Stealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 10 pick or ban champions for patch 8.14. These are the champions I would put the highest priority on in this patch to either pick or ban away, because I do think that if these champions can be played well right now, then they are going to be the strongest for you to climb with in this patch. The RP giveaway is still going on as well, guys, so if you're interested in entering into the $100 RP giveaway, then there is going to be a link down in the description below. So for the top lane right now, there's not too many picks that are super OP or super pick ban worthy. The one top laner though right now that I think is just really good, you can blind pick her and you can do well pretty much every game, is Quinn top lane. Quinn has been one of the best blind pick top laners for the past few patches now, and it's not until these last 2 or 3 patches until people have started to realize how strong of a pick she is in the top lane. She even does technically get indirectly stronger in this patch because of the teleport nerfs. You're gonna run the ignite on Quinn, and if you're poking the enemy top laner out in the laning phase, because of that teleport nerf now, it means that they're not just gonna be able to go base and use their TP back to lane as freely now, and you're gonna have a lot more time in the laning phase to actually punish their weaker lanes if they are playing a weaker top lane champion. There really isn't anything that hard counters Quinn in the laning phase. If you're going up against a melee top lane champion and you can play it well, then you're gonna win almost every single lane. Once you do get ahead in lane with Quinn as well, once you grab that first blood tower, her ability to roam around the map and spread her lead and influence other lanes is the best for any top laner, or is one of the best for any top laners. So her strong laning phase combined with her great roaming potential makes her the best pick or ban top laner for this patch. So a mid laner that has been my ban for the past like 2 or 3 patches now and is staying my ban in this patch is Talon. Talon is just a really hard mid lane champion to deal with. He really doesn't lose lane to too many picks in the mid lane. If you're playing an assassin against Talon, and I play a lot of Echo, he's just a very hard champion to deal with, because if you just make one mistake in the laning phase against Talon, if he gets an all in on you and he bursts you out, it's just so hard to deal with him throughout the rest of the game, because if you just give Talon an inch, he's gonna take a mile. He's gonna be able to roam around the map, use his lead, and just influence other lanes. So I would still ban Talon in this patch. Even though he did get nerfed, I do still think he's a very strong mid lane pick. And then the second mid laner that I would be looking to pick or ban in this patch is Zed. Zed is more of a lower elo ban. I do think that if you are playing in the higher elos, there are ways that you can deal with him and he's not as ban worthy, but I think for the average player and for most elos, I would consider banning Zed in this patch. It's not so much that Zed in himself is super OP for this patch. I do still think he is a very strong mid lane pick, but it's more so the fact that if you're playing AD carry or you're playing a squishy champion and your mid laner ends up feeding the enemy Zed, it's just so hard to do anything in the mid to late game. If you have fed Zed on the enemy team, he's just gonna be able to one-shot you in every single team fight, and you're just gonna be pretty useless and not really able to contribute for your team. So if you do have problems with Zed in the past and you are having problems with him in this patch, then I would just recommend banning him out for 8.14. So for a few support picks here, Morgana is a really good ban in this patch. Morgana is just super good in this meta because she does a great job with a lot of the meta AD carries, and she also does a good job countering a lot of the meta picks in the bot lane right now as well. She's really good against any AP mage in the bot lane. Her black shield can just shut down those champions really nicely, and she also does synergize very nicely with a lot of these AP mages. She's great with like Brand, Swain, Vladimir. If you can hit a bind in lane with Morgana, then you pretty much guarantee to 100-0 the enemy champion if you're playing with Swain or Brand, because their follow-up burst damage and follow-up crowd control is just really good. And then she can also shut down a lot of the meta supports really well in this patch too. Right now we have Pyke, Thresh, Rakan, Fiddlesticks, Brand, Alistar, all of these really strong aggressive supports being played in this patch. And if you can play Morgana well, if you can time your black shield and negate their CC abilities and prevent them from engaging on you in lane, then you can just do a great job at making those champions a lot less useful in the laning phase. And then the other support that's a ban in this patch, in my opinion, is Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks does have one of the strongest laning phases for any support right now. He just does a really good job at poking the enemy out in the laning phase. If you try to engage onto Fiddlesticks, a lot of the time that's not going to work too, because he's got his fear. He can do a really good job at just stopping enemy champions from getting onto him. And if he takes the Aftershock as well, which you should be doing on Fiddlesticks in most lanes, it's actually very hard to kill him, and he's just overall a very consistent, very solid pick in the support role for 8.14. So we'll take a look at a few bot lane picks here, and then we'll finish off with some junglers. So for bot lane right now, the only ban-worthy bot laners in my opinion are a few AP mages. So Swain right now is a really strong pick in the bot lane. Swain paired up with anybody that has crowd control that can combo off of Swain's E just is an insane lane, because if you hit one E in the laning phase as Swain and you have someone like a Brand, if you have a Fiddlesticks, even if you have like a Morgana, then the amount of follow-up CC and follow-up damage you can put out with Swain is almost going to guarantee that you 100-0 the enemy in lane if you do land that E. So if you can put a few games on Swain, make sure you can start landing your E consistently in the laning phase, then you're just going to have a ton of success on him. Heimerdinger is the other mage in the bot lane that is really good for this patch. He's got a super good laning phase along with Swain. You can pretty much just shove in the whole lane with Heimerdinger, get a ton of turret damage down. You're going to get First Blood Tower a lot of the time with Heimerdinger. And then along with Swain, Heimer's level 6 all-in is really good. You can look for a RE once you do hit level 6. That's usually the best combo that you can go for. You can follow that up with a lot of damage from your W. And if your support is playing someone that also has some good follow-up crowd control, then you just do have a pretty foolproof, really successful level 6 all-in with Heimerdinger that can really start to snowball the game. And if you are someone who is having a harder time dealing with AD assassins or just assassins being played right now in the mid lane, you can go for Zhonya's second item on Heimer, and it just makes him a really good pick against these assassins like the Zed, the Talon, the Yasuo that are being played a lot right now in the mid lane. So if you're someone that is struggling on traditional AD carries, then I'd look to pick up Heimer in this patch. And then the only traditional AD carry that I would say is ban worthy for this patch would be Draven. Draven is still one of the strongest laning AD carries for this patch. He can put out a lot of pressure in the laning phase, and he's also an AD carry that doesn't really get hurt by the crit item changes. He's just one of the strongest traditional ADs because his 2-item spike is just really good with Bloodthirster and Stormrazor. That 2-item spike on him just makes him really hard to kill because he's gonna have the Bloodthirster shield, and he's also going to deal a ton of upfront damage with the amount of AD he's getting from the Bloodthirster and Stormrazor, along with the guaranteed crit from the Stormrazor item. So if you can play Draven well, he's going to be a great pick for you in this patch, and he's going to be very strong for this meta because of his strong early to mid game. And then because I already made a jungle tier list for this patch, I saved jungle for last year. So the jungle picks in this patch that are pick or ban worthy here. The first one is Graves. Graves is just a very solid pick. He's just going to be your most consistent jungler for this patch and your best blind pick jungler. He doesn't really have any super hard matchups in the jungle. He's got a really good early game. He can contest Scuttle against pretty much any other jungler. His dueling potential is great in the early to mid game. And then once you do grab your warrior with Red Smite and your Stormrazor, you just start to do a ton of damage in the mid game, and you can just start one-shotting squishy targets with that item combination. And then Kindred is the other pick or ban jungler for this patch. Kindred has just been buffed a lot over the past few patches. Other junglers have been nerfed, so she's just gotten a lot stronger due to changes over the past few patches. She's also a great pick against a lot of meta assassins right now. Her ultimate can just do a great job at stopping these hard engaged champions along with these assassins that are trying to dive onto your backline. And then she also just does have a very strong mid game. Bloodrazor and Runins is a great item combination on Kindred, and you can really start to do a lot of work in the mid game once you do grab those 2 items. So that is going to be all for this video, guys. Those are the 10 champions for this patch that I'd either be looking to pick or ban in 8.14. If you can play these champions to their potential in this patch, then in my opinion, they are going to be the ones that are going to give you the best chance to carry for this patch. So with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.